Really started to talk to you as my spouse and say, I had to do this because I feel like you're supposed to. Because it caused you to turn around and say, oh, you're a monster. But that monster actually took all that what you made there to give you this house now. That's a scary place to be. Well, what if I went to jail and like it's hard for me to go out and go get a job when I got back out? And of course you don't know that aspect. And I'm showing you what I'm doing and we've been meeting with yet again. Like, that's the scary stage. It's like who do I how can I actually expose myself to? And I think for all of us, it's like we look at that and say, can I do my own? So
Now, my next question was going to be, why do men feel the need to be so mentally tough or so prideful? But I think that's kind of been asked and answered to make sure that y'all know the question and answer. Y'all kind of read my mind. And we see why. Because all the things we mentioned, maybe not necessarily in the same space, for you to be able to communicate your feelings and things like that. But one of the purposes of this dialogue and discussion is to kind of break down that barrier of you all feeling like, both men and women,
person that you can actually vent to and be yourself with. And like you said, yes, do get married if that's what you want to do, but don't marry anybody that you can't be yourself with. Then it's going to turn out to be hell on earth, and y'all aren't going to be together. Like she said, then you go into somebody else. I don't have any desire to speak to anybody else. I know I vent to my wife. I don't even want to put me on anybody else. Yeah, I mean, I get it. Again, like I said, like especially when you're dealing with retail and you're an entrepreneur, you deal with people every single day. Like you probably said, like in social media, and then with you as the counselor and things like that. So I found a good spouse as well as having a good set of parents that I can speak to and vent to.
Very good. Very good. Has somebody in the audience was standing?
Right there, yeah.
You, okay.
I just have a quick comment. I heard this one guy say, make a friend before you need a friend. Because by the time you need one, it's the wrong time to try to make one. And we need to cultivate relationships and get them to the point to where we can share on that level. Now, of course, it's not for everybody, but you have to be selected, and that's why it takes time. And you can't do that over social media. You know, in fact, you need to meet people. In fact, you need to get to know them. They need to get to know you to the point to where you're comfortable enough, and don't dump everything on them. Start sharing a little, and it should be a two-way street. Because if all you're doing is telling all your business and they're not bringing anything back, they're not the one for it. So that's all I'm saying.
All right, very good, very good. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next question. Certainly. We definitely respect the flow of the conversation.
What about the heaviness of, like, something we haven't talked about here is the heaviness of what addiction also looks like too. You talked about, like, for men and where they are, like, everything from whether it be sexual, it be alcohol, it be drugs, it be clubbing and all those other things, because I think that usually winds up being a big outlet for certain. I've had people expound on the fact of, like, what do you do if, say, for example, for us as men, where we decide, okay, I don't want to be with you as a woman, and our kids are actually, like, left exposed. They're homeless, they're left in the adoption agencies and things of those natures. Like, what do they necessarily do at the end of the day? Like, I think that for a lot of, like, the reason why some of these traumas actually take place and why those addictions take place is they don't really have a place to actually say, hey, I have somebody that I can go to because my mom's not there, my dad's not there, I'm latchkey, I'm being passed around consistently. Like, then what? Because if that aunt that I go stay with is like, I don't want you, you're a problem. That uncle says, you ain't necessarily like that. Stepdaddy that steps in, who starts to raise you, is like, you're just too much of a problem. Not realizing that, okay, I might be bad, but I need you more than anything else in this world.
Very interesting comments. And I want to piggyback on your comments by asking this question, which is, what are the mental health resources that we have here in our community? And I think we have at least a few experts who can speak to this particular topic, one in particular, but we also have some experts in the audience. Captain Sprinkle, are you still here with us? Captain Sprinkle still there?
Yes.
Mobile Fire Rescue? Y'all give him a round of applause. And all of the fire rescue people who are here. So I know he's got a little bit, or more than a little bit, of awareness of those mental health resources that exist here in our community. Because ultimately what this conversation is about is addressing what's going on, but also getting to solutions on where we can reach out to with these issues that we have here, not just locally in our community, because anything that we mention here, I'm sure is a resource that can be accessed similarly in any geographic location that might be viewing this particular panel discussion. So I'm going to defer first to Miss Mary, then we're going to hear from Captain Sprinkle back there, and then we're going to talk to the rest of the panel.
One of the greatest resources that we have in Mobile is Lifelines Counseling. I have to give it up for Lifelines.
Give it up for Lifelines Counseling. Lifelines.
Under the direction of Chandra Brown. So she is absolutely wonderful, making counseling more affordable for our community. So that's one of the resources we have to address those issues for men, addictions, trauma. As a certified trauma specialist, that we do need more resources in Mobile. I'll give you that. Child Advocacy Center is a center that deals with children who have been physically abused and sexually abused. So we see a plethora of children who are being abused in our community. So they can go there for free counseling. Also, we work with rape crisis. That's part of us. Anybody who has been a victim of abuse, sexual abuse, can go to rape counseling, rape crisis, and get 4 free sessions. And I must say, there are men who are coming in who are saying they are being sexually abused. So in order for them to talk about it, they have to feel safe. If they cannot feel safe with their family, therapy. Number one is you have to go to a therapist where you can feel safe. And not feeling safe is one of the effects of trauma. You have to feel safe in order to deal with what's going on in your life. And what you were saying about spouse, you are blessed to have a spouse that you can talk to and they would be there and they have your back. But the problem is, well, a lot of men and women, we don't talk about this while we date.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
When we date, we got one thing on our mind.
The wrong thing.
The wrong thing.
Right.
So we're not getting the time to get to know each other, talk to each other. Is she going to uplift me? Am I safe with her? And if you don't feel safe, you may not need to date right now.
That's right.
You may need to say, let me tap out this dating thing for a minute. Let me work on myself.
Right. Yes.
Let me be healed and whole
That's right.
before I say yes to
That's
her
right.
or yes to that. You don't need to walk down that aisle.
That's right.
Take a step back and say, you know what? As fine as you are, girl,
Give it a minute.
I need a man. That's
Right.
right. I'm not ready. Mentally, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
Emotionally, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
And that's why divorces are high, because we with somebody and we weren't even ready to say yes.
Yeah.
Let's just face it.
Just the flesh.
Just the flesh. But you have to feel safe with yourself
First
first.
and foremost.
That's it. And then you can feel safe with someone else.
Good.
All right. Captain Sprinkle, you back there?
Yeah, I'm back here.
All right.
It's hard to follow up on that right there.
I think you can do it.
You got me fired up. Yeah, I think we underestimate the people to our left and our right. There's a lot of resources in the community. I can give you a list of phone numbers and addresses and places to go see and all this. But we underestimate the power of the person to my left and right, and how I can lean on them and talk to them. You learn your people around you more than anything. I know every one of these guys is families that I'm with, I live with. And even though we don't go out on our off days or anything like that, we're still close enough to where I know I can pull somebody in the office or something like that. Hey man, I got something I need to talk to you about. And sometimes we lose that resource there because we want to look at, and I'm not going to mention any resources here, but there's plenty of them, and we use them. We use a lot of them. But we want to immediately go to the phone and look up, who can I call when I'm struggling? Who can I go see when I'm struggling or I'm going through something? And we forget the people to the left and the right. You know, and I think that's one of the things we need to learn to do. And its biggest thing is there's one thing is you want to listen. You know, we need to be good listeners. And us as firefighters, we're bad about it. And you can ask my wife, I'm real bad about it. Because when people call 911, what do y'all want us to do? You want us to solve your problem.
Yeah.
So when I go home at night, or I go home in the morning, and my wife says, oh, my kids are this, I say, you want me to fix it? Or you want me to listen? So I need to know whether or not I need to fix it, or do I need to listen?
Right.
And we need to get better at listening
Got you right.
and quit trying to fix everything. So that's one of the things, but biggest things, listen, refer, and referral is, let's be a bridge to another agency or a resource in the community or somewhere like that we can refer to people and support them along the way. Keep checking up on them. Let's don't just pass it down the street and say, here, all right, you're good, I got you some help, I'll see you later. Follow up with them, check in. Hey, if it's a text, if it's a phone call, stop by the barbershop one day, hey man, how you doing? You know, so that's one of the things we can continue doing, is leaning on the people to the left and right of us and having those friends and those safe spaces.
Thank you, Captain Sprinkle.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
appreciate it. We have a comment from Tony.
And I'll say that's probably why, another reason why social media can be so powerful. So they may see me share something or she said, or Titus, and they're like, oh, maybe they went through this, I can talk about it. And so a lot of times, even things I haven't even dealt with, if I feel like it's something that can help somebody else, I'll share those resources and share those numbers. And also too, it matches, it's on brand. But you can't be this toxic person fighting all day online, back and forth, and then the next day you're sharing this post where it's like, who are you? You've lost value with me.
Which goes back to our first question.
It goes back to your, so again, seriously, I'm like, who are you?
Yeah.
And that's why I keep.
Unfriend, right?
Yeah. I keep, because I can't trust you.
Yeah.
Because again, I know I'm a vulnerable person, and I know an emotional person. So if I can't trust you, like you said, you can't be around me on any aspect. Because I may share this resource about kids getting touched. Now you just started a rumor. Tony got touched, and now I'm just sharing the resources.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, it's like, that's for me how social media can be so powerful, where I make sure I stay on brand and I'm only doing positive stuff because I'm sharing those resources where somebody may say, dang, Tony has his business, he's done it for 15 years, everybody knows Secret Scientist, but he can still talk about, hey, he might have gotten touched.
Yeah.
So if he can do it, I can do it.
That's right. Or any other mental health issue.
Any type, any mental health.
Yes, so I am the owner and founder of Encourage Your Heart, and it is a community initiative organization, and we deal with grief and loss. And I'm not talking about just grief that's associated with death. I'm talking about the things that we lose, that we grieve on a day-to-day basis, you know, from the loss of independence from being sick, the loss of, if you're married and you're going through a divorce or a separation, or maybe, you know, you had a job and it was your career and you lost it off after so many years, or, you know, just different things that we deal with that sends us into an emotional frenzy. And so we get together, and I have a curriculum that we go through, and sometimes you don't even have to talk, you just have to listen. And as you're listening to understand instead of listening to respond.
Yeah.
Because what we're doing is giving you tools that are going to help you through the things that you're dealing with, and then supply you with additional resources like Lifeline or different counseling or therapy centers that's going to be able to help you. So also, there are a lot of different programs because I'm from Baldwin County, but there are so many programs. Look, I take my hat off to Mobile. I know y'all get a bad rap in Mobile. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
Hey. So I came from Illinois. Y'all right up there with us up there. So I'm just saying. But Mobile does. Mobile gets a bad rap. But as I look at a lot of things that happen on social media, a lot of outpour goes into the community from Mobile. But I don't see Mobile in the community while other activists are out there with it. So in situations like this right here is necessary. So whenever we see these things going on, whether we're dealing with a mental health issue, or whether we've been touched, or whether we're dealing with any type of issue, when it's going on, not only should we be coming, but we should be corralling people to come, and we should be going to support, because there's something that either is going to impact us or something that we can get and give to somebody else that can impact them. And I think we have to do better with supporting each other so that the resources can be shared and so that the resources can continue to grow. Because there are some good resources out there, but because I ain't Tony, or because I ain't you or you don't know me.
Yeah.
But if Tony share what I got, then you're going to come see that it was good all along. So we have to do better about supporting people and not hating on what they got. We have a crab in a bucket mentality, this color right here. And it's like, well, I can't, yes, thank you for the correction. Speak those words as though they are. Some of us, well, let me rephrase that, some people have a crab in a bucket mentality. You don't want to help the next person to achieve or obtain because you're scared they're going to do something better than you. But you're a resource.
Yeah.
So be that resource that's going to be able to help to pull them up.
And that's what we want to be here, a resource to connect all those dots that we're talking about, so we can get the clear picture of how we can uplift our community into a better space.
That's right.
That's what we're here for. All right, so we kind of going and flowing. I've asked more questions on the discussion panel than I've ever asked before. I'm glad I made a lot of them. We'll never run out. Don't worry. All right, so we've been talking about trauma, and we're talking about trauma trends. So I kind of want to shift us into that gear of thinking about trauma and the traumas that we've experienced. And do you think that trauma affects our decision making, and if so, how? We're gonna start with Phil.
Absolutely. Well, absolutely. I think that one of the big things is when you're at your lowest, that's when you start to make what I would consider addictive decisions. You know, you played football and you went to the University of South Alabama, and all of a sudden you tore your ACL, you were hit. Now you start eating.
Yeah.
You start eating a whole lot, you go into the wing spot, you're going to go hang out with your friends, you're drinking a whole lot, you put on a whole bunch of weight, now you're no longer that person anymore. People start treating you sideways because you're not him anymore. The trauma of one loss has automatically made you start to make decisions that cause you to start failing, right? And unless you're lucky enough that either A, you can pull yourself out of that situation, or you find someone else who can come along and say, hey, whoa, that was one mess up. That's just one. Maybe you have to bend in this other avenue. You can pick yourself up. Usually a lot of times for a lot of people, whenever something bad happens to them, they internally start to do things, whether like leaving your room messy on purpose because you're hurt and you don't have a space, because sometimes other people don't know how to necessarily deal with you. You know what you're talking about. It's football. Well, but I spent the last 16 years playing this sport. It was everything to me. What do I do with that? Or if you own a business and the business falls apart, or if, I don't know, you decide to go be an actor and all of a sudden you make a decision that you get in a fight with your girlfriend in public, and now they take that all the way away from you. What do you do then? How do you continue to keep yourself motivated? That is all trauma. And it may be rich people or champagne problems at the end of the day, but it's still a problem to you.
Yeah, it is.
It is. So those resources need to be available where like it doesn't become, oh, because you made $80 million the other day and you fell off, you tore that ACL at the end of the day. You should still be able to have somebody that can come along and say, hey, you know what, come here. That's okay that was a failure.
That's just one thing.
Okay, absolutely. Let's go in the gym for a second. Let's work out. Well, here, why don't you come work at my business for a little bit, just so you can get your mind right, so you can realize that just because of that thing that happened bad over there, you can still get right. That human being that is sitting right there in the crowd right there. When I was homeless in LA chasing after acting, looked me in my face and said, come home. I came back here, that other human being that is standing right there when I came in this shop would always tell me, he said, oh yeah, you're going to be special. When I would come from Pritchard and come over here and come sit over there when I was doing little background gigs right up the street over there at the Mud Brick Media. I'd come in and do a little background gig. We'd be up here in the shop and be like, oh, I see your back, your elbow in that show right there. I see it, you got it, dog, you're going to be an actor.
Yeah.
But Mobile, for whatever the quote-unquote bad rap they poured into me, Pritchard poured into me. I see you, dog, you running down MLK, keep going. When you gonna get that show?
Yeah.
When I'm sitting there speaking to myself out loud, but I went to LA and it fell apart, that don't mean nothing, baby.
Yeah.
You wanna still work? Come on, let's still work. Let's still work. Come on out here, we gonna work. God, I wish I could remember this guy, but he was at the J.R. Thomas Center. This dude was paying me $40 a week. I was driving her van that would cut off at every single light. Every light. You know what she would whisper to me? She would tell me all the time. She said, something is better than nothing.
Yeah.
It is. That dude right there knew me when I was at the flea market. He would say, hey man, you working the booth? I said, nah, I sell shea butter and soap. He said, don't worry, you're gonna get that one day.
Okay.
The community at large consistently pouring back into you because, okay, you might have fallen, but you can pick it back up.
That's right. Very good. Tony?
It definitely affects
Decision making.
But I think you just have to know when it's time to ask for help and move forward.
Don't be afraid to
You know,
ask
as long as you don't deal with the trauma, you're gonna always be down.
Yes.
And I think having great people are only motivating him because he's probably a good person and has good character.
Yes.
You know, so like if you are who you are and you're a good person and you're doing the things that you need to do, I think you're gonna have help on the outside. It's almost like the boy who cried wolf. How many times you gonna say wolf and then eventually you ate?
Right.
You know, so it definitely affects your decision making. It's just how you handle it on the back end and figuring out what actually is going to help you. You know, we don't need to go out and have all these drinks and you're blackout drunk. Because tomorrow you're going to have the trauma and a hangover. So I think figuring out what makes your trauma, I don't know if the word's fixed or help it a little bit. Healed, you know, you've got to figure out. And then, like you said, you've got to understand your trauma is different than somebody else's trauma. You know, everything is case by case. What you may think is petty, to me, it could be the end of the world. You know, and even when you get kids. Yeah, kids, it's the end of the world for everything.
Everything.
You know, but at that moment, that's their situation, and they're like, my world's over, my car just broke, and you're like, we just go buy the car.
Yeah.
But to them, you've got to address the situation and fix it at that time. But I would say it definitely affects your decision making.
And I want my capstone to be Miss Mary on this one, so I'm going to tie to me. Okay. Plus, I feel like I haven't heard from you in a while.
Okay, I got you.
Okay.
It definitely affects who you are
Trauma.
as a person. Trauma does. And I don't think we realize that a lot of times when we're dealing with people, because we may be upset because of how somebody is, but they dealt with stuff when they was younger or yesterday. They dealt with stuff to make them who they are. Like, I had a real problem with my mom when I was growing up. Like, I'm a person who likes to understand everything. So if she tell me to do something, it was this. I can say now in retrospect it was disrespectful, but I'd be like, why, Mom? Like, I want to know why.
That's no questions.
You telling me to do the dishes? I can do that later, right? Why? But not knowing how she grew up, what happened to her when she was younger, it made me like upset with her, and I didn't understand until she talked to me and told me this happened when I was young. This happened. My mom was in prison. This. So it's like you have to understand who people are and how trauma affects them. And like you said, you have to also know that you ain't got to be the same for your whole life just because what happened to you. And people always say, you know, these are the cards that I was dealt, but you can be healed from that stuff. Yeah, you ever played spades before? Your hand can look real bad, but you know what I'm saying. It also depends on your partner. You know what I'm saying. So it affects you, but you can be healed. That's not the end of the world. Your trauma is not the end of the world. So
Very good. Very good.
Unresolved trauma changes your brain structure. Your fire alarm system, amygdala, that's your fire alarm. So if you have not dealt with your trauma, it would keep you in the fight zone or in the flight zone. So that's a whole nother conversation right there. So but if you don't deal with that, you would make poor decisions. It would keep you in your trauma. Also, with the trauma, it affects your hippocampus. It also affects your decision making, which is our prefrontal cortex. It changes the structure. So if it changes the structure, that trauma now is causing you to make bad decisions over and over and over. And sometimes you get to the point that I don't trust my decisions, so I won't even make any decisions at all. So, and then we recreate that trauma by not making decisions or making the bad decisions, or I got trust issues, so now I am recreating my trauma by connecting with the unhealthy person. Right. Connected with somebody who has also been traumatized like I am. So you have to take the time out to get some help and to deal with your trauma so you can be healed and whole.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, no, but you just made me think of attachment theory.
How
you have
that's trauma bond.
Exactly. You have trauma bonds. And then the other thing I just wrote down, because I forget something in a minute, was triggers. Triggers are real.
Yeah.
And you're oftentimes, because of the trauma that you dealt with in your life, small things can trigger you. And then you go down what I was about to call you Miss Mary Callan. Right. So anyway, I was. But anyway, but what Miss Mary was saying, like, the triggers are real, and it's the smallest little thing that can trigger you, and then it sends you around. Just to share real quick, I was molested. I did not remember that I was molested until I was about 23, 24 years old. And so, but I was molested when I was between the ages of 8 and 13. And I didn't remember. And my ex-husband did something, I don't remember what he did, I don't remember what he said, but whatever it was, it was a flash, right? And it woke me up. Whatever he did, it triggered me. And now I can tell you where I was, I can tell you how the house looked, I can tell you who the person was, I can tell you what outfit, I can tell you when it happened. But that also, that trauma, it affected me because now that is one of my passions, is to deal with and help people that have been molested, help them to talk about it, help them to heal through it and things like that. So trauma is real and triggers are very real too.
Very good. Thank you for your responses. Give everybody a round of applause. Any comments from the audience? We actually are about ready to wrap up. any questions or comments from the audience in regards to what has been discussed? Give me a round of applause. Oh, go ahead, come on. Stand up so we can hear you. Just so we can hear you.
Okay, everything was good. I think these conversations need to be had, barbershop, all of that. I was just telling my friend and sister here, we talk like this at the salon, Mary. And
I'm trying to get them to bring it to a salon.
yes,
We're gonna
yes,
see.
but Mary is like my #1 go-to person with a lot of things. So everything that you guys are saying is so true. What we need today with the comments about the trauma, being trauma informed, even in our professions, all of that, and identifying our own traumas.
Yes.
So the more we talk about it, the more we can educate, the more we can help other people. So I'm thankful for whoever put this together. It's phenomenal.
It's good.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And an effort to embrace the culture and elevate our expectations. Yes, thank you. All right, so we are going to go ahead and wrap up, but before we do, one more comment.
Don't be afraid to love each other.
Yeah.
And when I say love each other, sometimes the God's honest truth is that somebody is poured into you, and sometimes you are poured into them. Do not be afraid, because sometimes that conversation, that day you turn around and call somebody, might be the very day that they were thinking to themselves that they wanted to go ahead and take their life.
Sure. Yeah.
It is just that serious. Just taking that moment, and it might be something just as simple as saying, "Hey man, let's go get some wings." And they might, "Oh, let's go do a workout." Whatever, just make that time to just love on somebody else, because you never know how much they might not have somebody in their life that they can just pour into, and that's all.
All right, thank you so much, Phil, for those final comments. We appreciate it. Give us one round of applause. And now Miss Felicia said we should call ourselves the cream team. Cream team. Okay. So now we have one more member of the team who's going to close us out this evening. Well, two more. You ready?
Yeah. Hey, I'm Chris. I'm with the Barbershop Talk Administration. We just want to appreciate y'all for coming out showing us support. To build this and keep growing, we will. Just need more support and just more people. Like if you bring one person this time, try to bring two. Deepen the conversations, and we can just uplift each other. Also, I'll say, like she said, we need
Kind that crinkle.
it's kind of crinkle, but it's all for the better movement. And as of now, you all can see what we have done so far, and it's on the third one. I think every conversation just get deeper and deeper. And so I'm head off to these.
All right, hey, round of applause to everybody who came out tonight. Hey, for the moderator, Miss Kimberly, man. Real quick, man, we want to again thank everybody for coming out again, man. This has been awesome. I think everybody has been touched in some way, in some sort. If people kind of poured out their livelihood, man, I think that's deep. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate everybody that came out, man. I'm real close with Tony and some people, but let me tell you somebody, these 4 people that's in here. Chris, Mr. Tremaine, and Miss Kimberly Bell. Like, she studies y'all bios in like a day.
Wow.
You understand me? She works hard. She comes by my shop all the time and sit there and we study. We work hard on this. And Tremaine communicate all the time about the next move and stuff, how to elevate this platform. Chris comes, this is my brother-in-law. He comes by the shop, man. He got a photography thing going on. He's trying to get that going, man. So we trying to build, man, and inspire everybody, one another. So our biggest thing is connecting the dots, and that's what we're doing right now. All right. So once again, thank everybody for coming out. Like everybody said, we doing this on the strength of us, our pockets, right? So if y'all want more of this, please support the Barbershop Talk. Please follow our page. It's on all platforms. Also, we have a food truck outside. We got here a friendly food truck. We got a special going on. We got $10 plates and $5 wings. Also, please support Miss Ashanti. Raise your hand. Please take a look at her art. She does an amazing job.
Let me see what you got so far.
Amazing job. Hold up for us.
Oh, look at that.
Turn around to the audience. I should let them see.
Got a neck this time.
So yeah, she got my head.
Hey, what you say?
So once again, man, hey, Vol 3 was a success. We thank you for coming out. Shout out to the camera guy. I don't know your name. Steezy, man. Y'all shout out to everybody, man. So once again, it's a success, man. Let's keep it going, man. So we don't know when the next one will be, but we'll keep y'all tuned in.
Sure.
All right.
All right.
Round of applause, everybody.
thank you all for coming out today. This is a great topic. And everybody that came out, I know y'all received something because I did as well. So salute to y'all. And I want to give a special shout out to my teammates who we all came together. And it's a blessing. So hey, if y'all don't mind, if y'all don't mind to still support. So that way we can get ready for the next one. Thank you.
All right, food truck is open. The bar and barbershop talk in the back is also open. Ashley is back there serving. Y'all give her a round of applause. Y'all come back. Y'all get your little libation. She's working for tips tonight, so make sure y'all bless her. Okay.
And granted, y'all, this is a networking event because this is a networking.
Don't leave.
So that's me,
Talk about yourself.
network, find out who's who. And by the way, my name is Houston. I'm owner of King's Grooming Lounge and Crown Barber Academy. Matter of fact, Tori King Stanley, that's one of my first students of the first school right here.
And thank y'all. We appreciate it. Mix and mingle. Turn the music on.
You trying to blackmail? Excuse me. Yeah, man. Yeah, we I'm sorry. No, we fine.
Are y'all gonna do a group shot? Are y'all gonna do a group shot? Are y'all gonna do a group shot?
If you ever need to sit down, y'all can sit down and chill. If you ever need to, some of the old, some of the new, that's like in the building, that's about a year in and then reception.
How y'all doing?